Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, Episode 7, Delusion. I really loved this episode. I thought it was a really cool change of pace where they just throw Ash into this crazy scenario. Ball, of course, has him trapped, and he has him, oddly enough, I was going through the episode and I was like, this is actually more realistic than the movies themselves, because I kept saying how everyone thought that he killed all those people, but nothing seemed to happen to him. I was like, this actually should be the real, course of action. Like, this should be what people actually think happen, where they think that he's insane, but he actually went through this experience. So we have a really cool episode where Ash is kind of trapped. We find out, well, if you see the promo, we find out that he is actually in that place. Because I thought the whole time, I was like, I can't tell if this is just in his head or if he's actually here and Ball was able to take him away, because they were doing all that stuff with Pablo and pretty much everybody was in the room that was important kind of by the end. So I was like, it's hard to tell if this is all in his head, all in Ash's head after he gets knocked out, or if he's physically in this location. But we find out at the end that he is actually in this like defunct, mental institution, but everything he's seeing is of course just in his head, and Ball's kind of sending him all these images so that he can kind of go nuts. And he's telling him, like, you need to destroy the Necronomicon, which of course they mentioned in the promo as well, is basically Pablo. Like, he is the key to stopping Ball, and Ball knows that. He's like, well, you need to destroy the Necronomicon, which at this point is currently Pablo, so you got to kill him, so basically I can live forever. So I like what they did, and of course it still had all the comedy in there, like the silly puppet stuff I thought was pretty funny, and it definitely had its gory moments. Like, Ash, not necessarily, technically he didn't really fight the two people, but, like the fake Kelly, I guess, killing Pablo, and then him killing Kelly, and it's like the jaw was ripped off of that woman, and then the whole face was like ripped off the other guy. So it definitely had its crazy, gory moments, but I just liked the way they did it, where it was like him going nuts, and it was just like, it was almost like an alternate timeline of what really should have happened, with the actual story of the films. But I loved it. I thought it was really well done. And he's just trapped. Like, of course, he goes through the normal process of him fighting it and fighting it. Like, I know that you're Ball, and of course, it is Ball. He just has, gray hair instead of the black hair, and the doctor's outfit and everything. And Ruby's supposed to be a nurse, but of course, he's talking to all these people that he sees as, Ruby, Kelly, and Pablo. And then they keep saying, like, I'm not this person. So he sees them as his friends. And then after they're dead, or after some random thing, he's like, oh, you aren't the person I thought you were. And, it kind of keeps going in circles like that, where he sees his friends, and then he kind of loses it, like, that's not you. And they have the woman, I think she said, she was like, I'm not Kelly, my name's Amanda, and stuff. So it's like, she's crazy, and she kills the guard, and all this other stuff. So I just loved the way they did it. I thought it was nice, just the way it played out. It was, like I said, still funny. They had the puppet stuff. Ash just continually fighting and fighting until the very end of the episode, where he just doesn't know what to do. And that's when Ball, he actually gets him, and it's like, I have to destroy the Necronomicon. And then, of course, that's when we get the glimpse where it's like the little drawing of the Necronomicon moves over and Pablo shows up. So I loved it. I like this episode. I feel like, the way they did it was very interesting for the show. It was funny, like I said, but it wasn't like super silly and stuff like that. And it was mostly like, it was really horror based. I think this one was really like a psychological horror episode. Like, it's mostly horror comedy with this show, but this was really like psychological horror, where we watch Ash go through like this crazy decline, where he starts off knowing what's happening. He's like, you're trying to trick me and stuff like that. And he just keeps getting pushed further and further, because he's dealing with, he's basically in this world that Ball has created. So everything he sees, he's supposed to see. And everything he doesn't see, he's not supposed to see it. So I love the way it was all playing out. And by the end, he does break, which is unfortunate. But it should lead to a really fun episode next week, which I'm really excited for, to see the rest of the team have to, fight Ash. And I would assume fight Ball as well. I'm sure he didn't just take off, because if he can get someone alone, I mean, maybe not Pablo, he couldn't, because he might be protected because of the spells, but, him going after Ruby again, and then going after Kelly, I feel like that would be something that could easily be a part of the next episode, where it's like, all right, I got Ash hunting them down, but whenever or if they end up, splitting up for whatever random reason, I can try to hunt them down as well. And as long as it's not Pablo who's protected, I can, start turning them on each other, and that makes my job a little bit easier. So I'm actually really excited for this next one to see Ash as the main villain for the episode. That actually seemed like it'll be pretty fun. And also with him having the chainsaw, very horror movie style, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but that also leads to some cool moments, like even in the promo, when he like saws through the wall and the chainsaw is getting really close to Pablo's face. Just little stuff like that is actually kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to how they play around with, him having this chainsaw and how they utilize that. And I don't know if he had the gun in the promo, if he'll be using a shotgun or anything, but for sure he has this chainsaw. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they play around with that idea. Of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know how you guys think they're going to actually save Ash in this next episode. I feel like, personally, it might be very Evil Dead style, where they eventually just trap him and just hit him over the head really freaking hard, and that cures him. But they might decide to go like pseudo, realistic with the magic and stuff, and it's like, no, we have to use a spell, now that Pablo is kind of infused with the Necronomicon, we have to use a spell to free Ash from Ball's control, and then they go, into, I would assume the next episode is all about Ash, and then the one after next is when we're going to get them at least going after Ball again. I don't know. It seems like he's going to be the main villain for the rest of the season based on how things have played out in these past couple episodes. So I assume the next one is going to be them curing Ash, and then after that is the journey once again to get to Ball, because they've kind of been on the run, for most of these episodes. When they're at the police station, it was like a mystery thing where it's like, we're kind of waiting on him to make a move because we don't know what to do. The last episode, Pablo was, sick and stuff, so they're like all huddled up in the house as the city pretty much comes to attack them. This episode, of course, was Ash completely trapped by Ball, and the next one is going to be the rest of the team starting to kind of flip the tables. They have to save Ash, and then they're going to go on to, eventually stop Ball. But like I said, I want to know, with this next episode, how are they going to save Ash? Is it going to be magic based? Is it going to be, kind of silly based where they just hit him? I want to know your predictions for it. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.